our voices now that we're on the World Wide of Web or World Web of Wide. I don't know. WWW. Whatever. Got anybody who would like to sponsor an hour or a segment of the show, you can send those requests or send those interests to that email address, sportskingslive@gmail.com. And we'll definitely try to, work something out for you and try to put something together to make sure that everyone involved is satisfied. It's not going to be any, we're not trying to get rich off anybody. There's some things that, financially would really help us out as far as the quality of the show goes. Anyway, getting back to sports talk here. In the world of the NBA, I just in my notes. This is what I wrote. The first bullet point for my NBA is just Steph. ... Like I don't know, man. God, that damn Steph Curry, man. I don't even know what in the hell goes on. Like this dude is like an N1 mixtape in the NBA. I don't know if you guys saw what happened to Chris Paul yesterday, and I don't know how many of you guys saw it live. Like, I'm sitting there on the couch watching the game, and I see this dude, like, reverse pivot from trying to go to a baseline. Chris Paul cuts him off. He does this behind-the-back dribble, and Chris Paul just, like, collapses, like his ACL, his Achilles, and everything just broke. And then, too, the part that people, I don't know if you guys saw this, what made it look worse is that he stepped on Steph's foot, which caused him to be even more off balance. And the next thing you know, Chris Paul was sitting down, and my man Steph just calmly turned around and hit like an 18-foot jumper. And it was like nothing had to happen. Like, he didn't make no face, he just ran back down the court like nothing happened. Like, yeah, this is exactly how I planned to do this the whole time. And the miraculous part about it is, like, sabermetrically, you hear that? Sabermetrically. Anyway, Chris Paul is the number one on-ball defender in the league, and that happened. And then the internet happened. I hate you MFers, boy, because when things go wrong for somebody, you dudes show no mercy. And then the good thing, to me, one of probably the best things that I heard that I saw today was the fact that Chris Paul was able to laugh at himself. Like, he posted some memes of himself. Like, the one I saw was him on the what is that thing called? That game where Twister. He was on a Twister mat. And when I saw it, I was like, good for him, man. Like, effing good for him, man. Like, people need to be able to laugh at themselves, man, and not take everything so damn serious. Because at the end of the day, like, game got to recognize game. Like, that move was ridiculously sick. And again, I'm like, Steph is just way too ignorant, man, with the basketball. He's just way past ignorant, and it confuses me. Like, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, I see it happen on TV, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? What did he just do to this all-pro point guard? Yeah, man, it is ridiculous. They end up winning the game, and then before I forget, because I was almost about to forget what happened after the game. Someone put a microphone in Blake Griffin's face after they lost the ball game, and here's what young Blake had to say.
Home court advantage is just not there for us. So if that's how it feels in the playoffs, then we're it's not looking good.
As I reach into my pocket and pull out the world's smallest violin to play a sad, sad song for old Blake. Oh, the Clippers are such crybabies, man. Oh, everything in the world affects them on the bat. Like, they never commit fouls. That never happens. Because every time something happens, they have to complain about it or they have to cry about it. Now they're crying about the home court advantage. Look, man, play ball. Play ball. And here's something that I talk about here about the team here in Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks. And it's even more applicable this year. The fact that they're a lot better than they've been in recent years now. Like, it would almost be like them complaining about where they are in attendance. They're like 14. The last time I checked, they were like 14. They really, really middle of the road attendance wise. but it kind of doesn't vibe with the fact that they have the best team record-wise in the NBA. But it does kind of vibe in the fact that you ain't been good long enough. And if you play for the Clippers, let's keep it real. The Clippers have been bad way, way, way longer than they've been decent. So if your fans don't know how to react properly to the things that are going on the court, they gotta learn. they gotta get accustomed to winning, and you just gotta win more. Like, get your ass out the first round or whatever. Find yourself with all this talent, with all this DeAndre Jordan and Chris Paul and Blake Griffin talent and all this Matt Barnes and all this kind of situation and Jamal Crawford, and find yourself in a final sometime soon. You got Doc Rivers on the bench now. You got rid of Vinny and won one more game with Doc. Got booted in the same round that you got booted in with Vinny. Yeah, good luck. See what happened with Golden State? They fired Mark Jackson, and whether it's Steve Kerr or not, at the end of the day, they've improved in they're number one in everything. Defense, offense, they're number one across the board. That's more than a marginal improvement of one victory. So you want your fans, Blake, to be more raucous or provide more of a home court advantage, win more. And I'm saying that to you. I'm saying that to the Atlanta Hawks as they move forward into the playoffs. Both teams are in a show me holding area where prove it, man. Prove that you're good enough for people to show out for you, because your fans haven't had a lot of practice in the matter. if we can all agree on that. Because last year it was Donald Sterling. It was the distraction of our racist owner that everybody knew was racist. So all of a sudden now he doesn't want his whatever she was girlfriend, whatever race his girlfriend was, to hang out with Magic Johnson and Matt Kemp. All of a sudden now it's just too much of a distraction. Really? Like, at what point do you ever think about the owner of the team while you're shooting free throws? Or, while you're trying to make a bounce pass? Miss me with it, man. Play ball. Play ball, Blake. Like, you just got back too. Now, by the way, Blake had 40 points last night. So, he's not lacking production after coming back off that elbow bursitis surgery that he had. But to then turn around and be like, oh, man, I don't know how we're going to do it in the playoffs if people don't act crazy in the stands. I just don't know what's going to happen. Look, between you and the Lakers playing in that building, chances are you are still, like, you're getting the better end of the fandom anyway. And if it's not to your standards, again, win ball games. Play ball, man. Oh, more LeBron news today. Yesterday, we found out LeBron don't have no friends. Well, he only has 3 friends, and everyone else is a teammate, even though he's repeatedly called guys his brothers and called Chris Bosh his brother. Apparently, none of that's true. He only has friends. He only has friend eyes for Chris Paul, Carmelo, and Dwayne Wade. So there's that. All you other fools, stand back. But today, Brian Windhorst from ESPN reported that LeBron James, he's actually calling the plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then, like 45 seconds later, David Blatt will call the same play as though, it was his idea all along. Yeah, that's kind of weird. And you know why it's weird? Because that's the same thing that Rick Carlisle and Rajon Rondo got into an argument with, causing Rajon Rondo to get suspended for a game. It was reported that the argument was over Rajon wanting to call the plays and not the coach. But in this situation with David Blatt, he seems to be okay with it. He seems to be like finally, like as fine can be with being undermined by the proverbial or the quote unquote king. Here's where the issue arises though. Now, LeBron, here's where you're at. You've rejoined this team, and you've kind of taken the reins, and you've kind of asserted your position of power in having them trade not one but two number one overall picks. Obviously, one they were probably glad to get rid of in Anthony Bennett, but Andrew Wiggins, safe to say they weren't really the Cavs. I mean, weren't really that excited about getting rid of him. But LeBron wanted Kevin Love. He wanted Kevin Love, and he wanted to turn Kevin Love into a stretch four, which Kevin Love is not. And he has said as much. Don't call me a stretch four. Don't label me that way. And it hadn't really worked out. To be honest with you, it hadn't. Even in the sense where, Kyrie Irving had to go from being the primary ball handler to now sharing those duties a lot of times and relinquishing those duties a lot of times to LeBron James. All fine and dandy. They've played well after the All-Star break. They've been one of the hotter teams in the NBA. And now you have this situation where LeBron is now calling plays, or reported to be calling plays, outside of what the coach wants. Like, they've totally scrapped. I remember talking to my guy Branson Wright on the radio station on 92.9 here in Atlanta, and him telling me what kind of offense this was going to be. It's going to be a Princeton-style motion offense, a lot of moving and cutting, a lot like what the Atlanta Falcons do. Falcons, Jesus. It's always football season in my mind. The Atlanta Hawks do. They've totally scrapped that. And LeBron is I guess you'd call him the offensive coordinator of the team, and he calls whatever plays he wants. And David Blatt just comes back around and repeats them and acts as though, he's actually calling the play when, per Brian Windhorst, it's not happening that way. He says, quote, "I've lost track of how many times David Blatt has said something this year, and LeBron has directly contradicted it within 45 seconds, Windhorst added. Like, that's a real dangerous place to be as far as a player goes. And I've said it before about LeBron and these guys who want to play GM and all that. Play ball. Let other people do their gig, because it's gonna be cool right now. Because like I said, they're one of the hotter teams in the league right now, and they're making moves, and then they're getting ready for a playoff run. So it's cool now. Like, okay, LeBron got it under control, and everyone's gonna give him credit for that. But in the event that something catastrophic happens, let's say they get booted in the first round of the NFL, gee whiz, there I go. In the first round of the NBA playoffs, now are you going to be willing to deal with that? The fact that you took the reins on this one, and it blew up in your face. Not saying I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, by the way. I don't. I think the Cavs are priming themselves to make a run to the finals here out of the East. But it is a risky proposition that LeBron is taking on. It's one of those things where it sounds good at the beginning, and I'm one who contends that there has to be a little bit of regret in that whole Andrew Wiggins type thing. You know what I mean? For what they could have been as far as a transition team with athletic guys who can handle the basketball and defend, because that was the problem in the first half of the season before the All-Star break. They were terrible defensively. Andrew Wiggins is just that. He's a long, athletic, young, springy legs young man who'll be able to, if nothing else, defend. And as the season goes on, the same way he did in Minnesota, develop he's doing, I should say, in Minnesota, developing his offensive repertoire. But now the milk has been spilled. You can't cry over it now. You've got Kevin Love there. You've got to use him. Now he's got a back issue as we're moving into the playoffs. It's just, it's just a whole. We'll follow this, as the playoffs start here in a couple days or a couple weeks. We'll follow this situation and see how it plays out when the competition and the playoff atmosphere ramps up a little bit. That's going to pretty much do it, man. One last thing, Tiger Woods, still doesn't know if he's going to play in the Masters. Got 18 holes in yesterday. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted as far as what the developments are in that realm of things. Once again, this is the Sports Kings podcast being heard on Spreaker.com. I'm Big Mike. Hopefully my guy Rob Calloway will be back. Calloway will be back with me tomorrow. But until then, make sure you guys check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Sports Kings Live, and send us those emails, man. SportsKingsLive@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys tomorrow as we get ready for the weekend.